Rimuru go back in time by Rimu-chi. Meeting Ogiers. Rimuru's POV. I am in my office. Shizu is teaching the goblin kids in the new building I built for a school. Yes, I already built a school. Why, you ask? Well, in this timeline, everything has happened earlier than before, like Shizu's arrival and other events. I'm expecting Benimaru and the others, but they haven't shown up yet, and I'm getting worried. Who knows what happened to them? Maybe I should ask Seal about it. Seal, why haven't Benimaru and the others arrived yet? Did something bad happen to them? I ask. Absolutely not, Master, she replies. There are still a few more days until that event takes place. Tomorrow is the day the tragic event is supposed to occur. Closing curly bracket. So, everything happened earlier than before, right? Yes, Master, she confirms. What would you like to do? Closing curly bracket. I think for a moment, then smile. I have the perfect plan. Seal, teleport me to Veldora. In an instant, I'm teleported to Veldora in my subspace. He's still lounging on the couch, reading manga, completely absorbed in his book. Hey, Veldora. I call out. He looks up, grinning. Oh, Rimuru. Finally here to join me in some manga time. I shake my head, chuckling. Not quite. I actually have a job for you. His grin widens with excitement. A job? For me? What kind of job? There's an orc village, I explain. I want you to bring them here to safety. Can you do it? Veldora raises an eyebrow. Bring them here. Why? There's an orc army of 200,000 heading their way, and I want to save them, I say, folding my arms. He lets out a laugh. Say no more, brother. An army of 200,000. Sounds like an exciting challenge. I'll handle it. Good to know I can count on you. I smile, and then add, try not to scare them too much, alright. Veldora snickers. Me. Scare them. I'll just give them my charming dragon smile. I give him a playful eye roll. Yeah, I'm sure that'll do wonders. But really, Veldora, it's important that they trust you. We need them to come willingly. He nods, putting on a mock serious face. Understood, oh great Rimuru. I'll be the friendliest dragon they've ever seen. With that, we teleport to the real world, and he flies off toward the orc village. I watch him go, feeling a bit nervous but mostly relieved. Master, do you think giving this task to Veldora is a good idea? Seal asks. I pause, thinking about Veldora's enthusiastic grin. Yes, I trust him. He may have his quirks, but he'll get the job done. Understood, Master, she says, a bit amused. Should I prepare to calm any goblins who might panic upon seeing him? Closing curly bracket. I chuckle. Good idea. And maybe prepare a welcoming feast for the orcs. If they see a welcoming celebration, they might be more comfortable. A wise choice, Master. Anything else? Closing curly bracket. Maybe some light entertainment, too. Let's give them a proper welcome. As you wish, Master. Closing curly bracket. Dot 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 dot. Veldora's POV. I was lounging on the couch in my subspace, completely immersed in the latest volume of One Piece. Man, this is good. I muttered, grinning to myself. I want to be a pirate just like them. The adventures and camaraderie had me hooked. But just as I was imagining myself setting sail, I sensed Rimuru's presence. I looked up, delighted to see him. Oh, Rimuru. I greeted, grinning even wider. Finally here to join me for some manga time. He chuckled, shaking his head. Not exactly, Veldora. I actually have a job for you. A job? For me? My curiosity spiked, and I sat up, eyes gleaming with excitement. A job for me? What kind of job? I asked, hoping it would be something exciting. There's an orc village in danger, he began, his expression serious. I want you to bring them here to safety. Can you do it? Bring them here? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Why? He crossed his arms, a determined look on his face. An orc army of about 200,000 is heading their way. We need to protect them. I let out a hearty laugh, feeling my excitement soar. Wahaha. Say no more, brother. I'll take care of it. Rimuru looked relieved, a slight smile on his face. I knew I could count on you, he said, though he added, just, try not to scare them too much, alright. I chuckled. Me? Scare them. I'll just give them my most charming dragon smile. He rolled his eyes, clearly trying to stifle a laugh. Right, because that'll help. But seriously, Veldora, it's important they trust you. We need them to come willingly. I gave a dramatic salute. Understood, Rimuru. I'll be the friendliest dragon they've ever seen. With a final nod, Rimuru and I teleported to the real world. The wind rushed around me as I took off toward the orc village. It had been ages since I'd had a task like this, and I couldn't wait to see the look on their faces. Minutes later, I spotted the orc village and landed right in front of the entrance. Dust billowed around me as I made my entrance, waiting for the reactions. A guard, visibly alarmed, stepped forward. Stop right there. Who are you? Me. I grinned, placing a hand on my chest dramatically. I am the mighty storm dragon, Veldora Tempest. I'm here to warn you that your village is in danger. Another guard snorted, unimpressed. Lies. The storm dragon disappeared over a month and a half ago. You're just a faker. Suddenly, a new voice interrupted. What's all this commotion about? A figure approached, the village chief, flanked by 6 other orcs who looked ready to defend their leader. Author note. You know who these 6 orcs are. The guards immediately kneeled before their chief. Chief, this stranger here claims to be the storm dragon, and he says our village is in danger, the first guard explained. The chief scrutinized me, his eyes narrowed. Do you have any proof of your identity? Proof. I smirked and, without another word, transformed into my majestic dragon form. The massive shadow of my true self loomed over them as the orcs stared, wide-eyed, before dropping to their knees. The chief's voice was filled with awe. We're sorry, Veldora-sama. We humbly beg for forgiveness. Wahaha. I laughed, thoroughly enjoying their reaction. No need to worry about that. But your village truly is in danger. Rimuru sent me to bring you all to his nation for protection. The orcs slowly stood, still in shock but now more trusting. The chief tilted his head in curiosity. What kind of danger are we talking about, Veldora-sama? And, who is this Rimuru person? I pointed in a direction off in the distance. Send a scout that way, you'll see soon enough. And about Rimuru, you could say he's a true dragon like me, my younger brother. The chief's eyes widened. True dragon. Your younger brother. I nodded, a proud grin on my face. Yes. He's known as the Void Dragon. You'll see soon enough why he's worthy of the title. The chief turned to one of the 6 orcs. You, go and see what lies in that direction. Understood, that orc said, before disappearing in a blur. The orcs murmured amongst themselves, clearly astounded by the revelation. Within moments, Soe reappeared, his face grave. Chief, I spotted orcs in full armor, marching in formation. There are about 30,000 of them. I crossed my arms and let out a low chuckle. Oh, you've only seen their scouts. The real threat is much larger, an entire army of 200,000 is on the way. The chief's face went pale. What? He composed himself quickly, though the shock lingered in his eyes. Evacuate the village. He turned to me, his voice resolute. Veldora-sama, we will accept your offer. Then gather everyone and prepare to follow me, I said, giving him an approving nod. 1 hour later, the villagers were packed and ready to move. With the chief and his warriors at the lead, I guided them back toward Rimuru's nation, feeling a surge of pride at my success. It felt good to be of service, especially with such an epic task at hand. Rimuru's POV. I waited patiently for Veldora and the ogres to arrive. It took them about 4 hours, but finally, I saw them approaching. Shizu and I went to greet them, noticing there were a total of 300 ogres. I immediately informed Rigard about their arrival and told him to get everything ready for a welcoming feast. We stepped forward to meet them, and, as expected, that idiot Veldora was in his dragon form. His massive, intimidating presence was causing quite a stir among my people, who had begun to gather around, some panicking at the sight. Hey, Veldora! I yelled, rolling my eyes. Who said you could show up in your dragon form? You're scaring everyone. Veldora chuckled sheepishly, shifting his enormous weight. Sorry, Rimuru. But I had to let them see who I am, you know. How else would they believe it's really me? I sighed, shaking my head, but I decided to let it slide. Alright, fine. But next time, give me a heads up, will you? As we approached, the ogres all knelt down before me, with the ogre chieftain speaking up. Thank you, Lord Rimuru, for saving us and giving us shelter. I smiled, giving him a reassuring nod. Don't worry about that. I just did what I thought was right. The ogre chieftain then looked up, a hint of curiosity in his eyes. Is it true, then? Are you, a true dragon? I glanced at Veldora, a knowing smirk forming on my lips. Did he tell you that? The chieftain nodded solemnly. I decided it was time to formally introduce myself to them. Let me make this official, I said, projecting my voice so all the ogres could hear. I am RIMURU Tempest, the fifth true dragon, known as the Void Dragon. My people in Shizu were calm, having already known about my identity, but the ogres were clearly shocked, staring at me with wide eyes. Their reactions made it all the more satisfying. Then, of course, Veldora couldn't resist interjecting, his voice full of excitement. Speaking of dragons, Rimuru, I haven't actually seen your dragon form yet. Can you show us? I sighed, knowing he wouldn't drop it. You really want to see it? Yes, Veldora said, his eyes practically sparkling. Alright, fine, I replied, and began my transformation. In seconds, I shifted into my dragon form, a deep, dark blue with hints of silver and black along my scales. My eyes glowed a rich golden color, and my wings were massive, the colors blending in waves of blue and silver. I was 3 times larger than Veldora, my form rivaling that of even Veldonava. His color was light blue with black eyes, whereas my look was darker, giving off a far more ominous and powerful aura. There was a moment of awe. I could feel the gazes of everyone around me, staring with reverence and shock. It was as if they were witnessing some divine being, and, well, technically they were, but that's beside the point. After a few moments, I reverted back to my human form. That was divine, the ogre chieftain said, his voice filled with admiration. You're just as majestic as Lord Veldora said you'd be. Shizu gave a nod of agreement, smiling softly. Veldora, meanwhile, looked like a child whose favorite toy had been taken away. Our Rimuru, brother, your dragon form is amazing and all, but, he paused, then yelled, you're twice as big as me. I couldn't help but laugh. Jealous, are we? Besides, unlike you and other, I can customize my forms. We eventually got through the introductions, and I began the task of naming the ogres one by one. I gave each of them their names, Benimaru, Shion, Shuna, Soe, and Kurub. The ogre chieftain received the name Akamaru, since I couldn't come up with anything better at the time. They each pledged their loyalty to me, promising to serve and protect our people with honor. After assigning them their roles and explaining their duties, I asked Rieger to give them a tour of their new homes. Finally, as night fell, Fest happened, but me, Shizu and Seal didn't stay long. Shizu, Seal, in her human form, and I prepared for bed. As we settled in, I looked around at my companions, feeling a deep sense of contentment. It had been a long day, but everything had gone well. And with that, we all drifted off to sleep, ready to face whatever came next. Shuna's Pav. I stood beside the other ogres, trying to keep my composure as we awaited Lord Rimuru's arrival. The past few hours had been filled with uncertainty and fear, but our journey Veldora-sama with to this place brought me hope, a place rumored to be ruled by a powerful being who saved us from certain doom. My brother stood protectively in front of me, watching the horizon with an intense gaze. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I spotted a small figure coming toward us. But it wasn't long before I realized that it was no ordinary arrival. By his side was a majestic person. My heart pounded as I saw him. Around me, I could feel the tension from my clan, but there was a strange excitement as well. This was going to be our new life, under the guidance of Rimuru-sama and Veldora-sama. When they came close enough, that person yelled at Veldora-sama, "Hey, Veldora. Who said you could show up in your dragon form? You're scaring everyone." It was surprising how casually he spoke to the dragon, almost like a brother scolding a sibling. That was none other than Rimuru Tempest himself. Veldora-sama merely chuckled and gave a sheepish reply, which made me stifle a giggle. After they settled, my father, the ogre chieftain, stepped forward, bowing deeply. Thank you, Lord Rimuru, for granting us sanctuary. The way he spoke was full of reverence, and I followed suit, kneeling with respect. This was the being who had saved us, after all. Lord Rimuru smiled gently. Don't worry about that. I just did what I thought was right. His kindness surprised me. I had expected someone powerful but distant. Instead, he seemed approachable, almost like he genuinely cared about us. Then, curiosity got the better of my father, and he asked, "Is it true, then? Are you a true dragon?" I glanced up, caught off guard. A true dragon. Yes, I heard Veldora-sama saying Rimuru-sama is a true dragon. Rimuru-sama gave a knowing smile and, after confirming that Veldora-sama had already shared his secret, he addressed all of us with authority. I am Rimuru Tempest, the fifth true dragon, known as the Void Dragon. The words hung in the air, and I could feel the collective shock of my people. I had only heard stories of true dragons, their strength, their majesty. And now, I stood before one who was going to lead us. It felt like a dream. Just then, Veldora-sama, in true playful fashion, said, speaking of dragons, Rimuru, I haven't actually seen your dragon form yet. Can you show me? There was an audible gasp among us, but Rimuru-sama just sighed, you really want to see it? Yes. Veldora-sama's eyes were practically shining with excitement. And with that, Lord Rimuru began his transformation. The energy around him was immense, and in seconds, he shifted into his dragon form. He was magnificent. His scales were a deep, dark blue with silvery highlights that seemed to shimmer as he moved. His golden eyes radiated a fierce, almost divine power, and his wings, blending in shades of blue and silver, stretched wide and strong. He was enormous, 3 times the size of Veldora-sama, a form that even rivaled the ancient legends of the creator god Veldonava-sama himself. I stared, utterly in awe. Around me, the other ogres were equally dumbstruck, and I could hear murmurs of reverence and admiration. My father whispered, this is the power of a true dragon. I could only nod, unable to tear my gaze away. When he returned to his human form, my father stepped forward, bowing even deeper. That was divine, Lord Rimuru. Truly, you are as majestic as Veldora-sama said you would be. Lord Veldora then made a grumbling sound, looking almost like a pouting child. Our Rimuru, brother, your dragon form is amazing and all, but, you're twice as big as me. I suppressed a smile, finding the two dragons' relationship surprisingly endearing. Lord Rimuru just laughed and teased him, jealous, are we? Besides, unlike you and others, I can customize my forms. After the introductions, Lord Rimuru began naming us. My brother was named Benimaru, my dear friend Shion, and I was given the name Shuna. He moved through our group, each name chosen thoughtfully, binding us to him with a power that filled me with strength and purpose. It was unlike anything I had ever felt. Once the naming was complete, Rimuru-sama asked Rigard, his assistant, to show us around and introduce us to our new homes. I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and loyalty to him. My entire clan did, I could see it in their faces. From this day on, we were bound to Lord Rimuru, and we would serve him with honor and pride. As we were led through the village, I marveled at how organized and lively it was. This wasn't just a home, it was a place where we could rebuild, where we could start anew. That night, welcome feast happened. After that I go to bed. As I lay in my new room, a feeling of peace washed over me. I thought back to the first moment I saw Lord Rimuru and the kindness in his eyes. With him leading us, I was certain of one thing, the future would be bright. Third person POV. In the quiet ogre village, the air felt tense. About 200,000 orcs filled the village, surrounding 3 peculiar figures known as Majins. At the center of the commotion stood Gelmud, a tall and ominous Majin, his patience thin and his expression dark. He scanned the empty village, frustration bubbling beneath his stern gaze. Where are the ogres? Gelmud shouted, his voice echoing through the valley. They should be here. Beside him, a clown-like girl with white makeup and a single painted tear on her cheek stepped forward. Her name was Ter, and she wore a bemused smile as she looked around the vacant village. Maybe they've moved on, Gelmud, she said with a shrug. Found themselves a new place to call home. HMPH. Typical. I bet they ran off the second they heard we were coming, Gelmud grumbled, his frustration mounting. A third figure, a heavy-set man named Footman, crossed his arms with a scowl. He had thick makeup painted into an angry expression, fitting his usually foul mood. Could be, but I doubt they got too far, he muttered, glancing around. But since they're not here anymore, what's stopping us from paying a little visit to the Lizardman settlement? Gelmud's expression shifted from irritation to a calculating smirk. Not a bad idea, Footman. If the ogres left, it's possible they went in search of allies. Anyway, the Lizardman is our new target. Before they left, Footman and Tyr glanced at each other, a silent understanding passing between them. Without further word, the 3 Majins commanded the orcs to set the ogre village ablaze, flames soon licking up the wooden structures, filling the sky with thick smoke. Let's make sure there's nothing left for them to return to, Ter added with a mischievous smile as the fires began to consume the village. Little did they know, someone observing them from afar. It was Seal, silently tracking the Majins and their army, noting their next steps. Fools, Seal thought, watching as the three Majins left the now burning ogre village, oblivious to the eyes that tracked them from the shadows.